Hey everyone, this is a 50-minute power yoga practice with a focus on arm balances and building upper body strength. It sort of jumps right into it after a centering, so if you're feeling really tight, I would suggest doing the 7-minute basic yoga warm-up video, and I'll put the link for that down below. Before we begin, I wanted to let you know we recently revealed the 2015 Spring Yoga Retreat schedule, and if you'd like to join in, there are opportunities to practice with me in Miami, Costa Rica, upstate New York, Morocco, and the Greek island of Sifnos. Love to have you join. Okay, let's hop right into it. There are quite a few poses in here that require serious upper body strength, so maybe make a commitment to yourself during the centering to approach today's practice with zero expectations and let the experience naturally unfold for you. Remember, always work within a pain-free range and honor your body. Hope you enjoy. Begin in Child's Pose with your hips reaching back towards your heels. Reach your arms away from you. Lower your head down to the mat and close your eyes. Let your eyelids be heavy. Close your mouth, but part your teeth, and begin to belly breathe, making your inhales and exhales of equal length. Let your thoughts fizzle away. Let your mind become clear. And on your next inhale, round forward onto all fours. And then send your hips forward as if you're in push-up pose, but on your knees. Wrists, elbows, and shoulders in one long line. Elbows go back behind you as you lower all the way down. When the chin touches the mat, super slowly inhale. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders for Sphinx Pose. Lengthen the spine. Open the chest. Look ahead. As you exhale, bring your chin down towards the mat. When it gets there, hands by your side, slowly push yourself back up. So your stomach is flat as you do this, and you send yourself back into Child's Pose. One deep breath in and out. As you inhale, round forward onto all fours, send your hips forward, plank pose on the knees. Elbows back behind you, core engaged, lower all the way down. As you inhale, spider your fingers off the mat, elbows up to the sky. Use your upper body strength to lift the chest up off the ground. Exhale, melt forward. When the chin touches the mat, bring the hands underneath your armpits. Elbows back behind you. Activate your core. Slowly push yourself up. Inhale, Child's Pose. Rest your head on the mat, deep breath in and out. As you inhale, come forward. Push-up pose on the knees. Activate the core, elbows back behind you, super slowly lower down. When the chin touches the mat, spider the fingers off, elbows up. As you inhale, look out over your right shoulder as you use your back and upper body strength to lift yourself up. Exhale, melt down. Inhale, use your upper body strength, lift, look out over left shoulder. Exhale, chin comes down to the ground. Hands next to the ribs, elbows back behind you, push up with a flat back. Send yourself into Child's Pose, deep breath in and out. As you inhale, round forward onto all fours. Knees directly underneath the hips, wrists, elbows, and shoulders in one long line. Then turn your fingers so they're pointed in towards your body. Just a little stretch for the wrists here. Be mindful, this might be really intense if you have tight wrists. Just breathe into whatever tension you're feeling, making sure that you're not feeling any pain. And then when you're ready, we'll spin it around. Send yourself back into Child's Pose, extend the arms, and then really press down into the forearms to see if you can open up the armpits a little bit. As you inhale, lift the forearms, bring the hands together, bring the hands behind your head. Breathe into the triceps. As you exhale, gently release. As you inhale, round forward. Push-up pose. Come all the way down. And as you inhale, press into the mat with a flat back to lift up. Curl your toes, child's pose. Breathe into the bottoms of the feet. Press the toes into the ground. Inhale, round forward onto all fours. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. First one of the day, so go easy on yourself. Press the mat away from you. Bend one knee, then the other. Breathe into the backs of the legs. Make any small movements you need to warm up the body. Then find your way into downward facing dog. Spread your fingers and really plug into the mat. So the base of your fingers is like glued to the ground. Spin the inner thighs up towards the sky. Lift the hips even more. Picture the body as an upside down letter V. No tension in the neck. The gaze is towards the navel. Check in with your breath. Now on your next inhale, come forward until you're in plank pose. Lift your kneecaps so your leg muscles are engaged. 2 deep breaths here. Then lift the hips. Step the feet forward a little bit, downward facing dog. 2 deep breaths in and out here. As you inhale, come forward, plank pose. Pick the kneecaps up so your leg muscles are engaged. Draw the shoulder blades toward one another. Wrist, elbows, shoulders in one long line. Breathe and lift the hips, downward facing dog. No tension in the neck. Keep pressing the mat away. Check in with your breath. As you inhale, come forward, plank pose. Breathe. Press the mat away. Activate your core. When you're ready, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Step your feet up the mat a couple of inches to clarify your foundation. Let your head hang heavy. Keep pressing the mat away, picturing the body as an upside down letter V. Spinning the inner thighs up towards the sky, and when you're ready, lift your right leg as high as you can. Spread the right toes. Then use your core strength to bring the knee in close to your chest, shoulders over wrists. Step the right foot to the front of the mat. Rise up onto the fingertips, elongate the spine. Right knee directly over right ankle. Then bring the left knee down to the mat. Lift your arms up. As you exhale, press your hips forward. Breathe into the left hip flexor. Lift your heart, look up. Elongate your spine, so even though there's a little back bend there, there's no compression in the low back. Left toes are plugged into the ground. On your next inhale, interlace the fingers behind your head. Lean back even more. Get longer in the spine even more. As you inhale, release. Bring the fingers down to the mat. Lift the back knee. Then lift the right arm and look up, imagining that your shoulders are stacked. Little twist, originating at the navel. Breathe. And as you exhale, bring the hand down. Use your core strength to come into 3-legged plank. Holding, 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 and release. Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, melt forward. Inhale, curl the toes, then lift the kneecaps, activate the core. As you exhale, press up with a flat back, downward facing dog. Step your feet up the mat a couple of inches to clarify your foundation. Let your head go. Lift your hips. Long armpits as you press the mat away. Inhale, come forward into plank pose. 2 breaths here. Draw shoulder blades toward one another. Activate your core. Breathe. Inhale, downward facing dog. Step your feet up the mat a couple of inches. Tuning into your breath, making sure the inhales and exhales are of equal length. As you inhale, lift the left leg, spread the left toes, reach the foot as high as you can to the sky. Then activate your core strength, bring the knee in towards the chest as you super slowly step the foot to the front of the mat. Rise onto your fingertips, elongate the spine, bring the right knee down to the mat. As you inhale, rise up, lift your heart. As you exhale, press your hips forward. Breathe into the right hip flexor. Lift your heart, elongate the spine. On the next inhale, interlace the fingers behind your head the other way. So you want to have it feel a little awkward. So maybe the right hand is on top or the left hand's on top. Whatever feels strange, do that one. As you inhale, come forward. Lift the back knee, then lift the left arm, look up. Stack your shoulders. Twist originates at the navel. Breathe and relax the space between your eyebrows. Inhale, hands to the ground. Activate the core strength, three-legged dog. Hold, hold, and release. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, slowly melt forward. Inhale, curl the toes, lift the knees. Activate the core. Deep breath in. Exhale, come up with a flat back, downward facing dog. As you inhale, we'll rise onto the toes, bend the knees, and hop forward using your core strength. As you inhale, halfway lift, bring your fingers in line with your toes. Exhale, forward fold. Little micro bend in the knees here because our legs probably aren't warmed up all the way. Feet together, knees together. As you inhale, bend the knees deeply. Lift, open up the heart. Exhale, dive forward, forward fold, and then lift your arms, breathing into the fronts of the shoulders here. Exhale, bend the knees deeply, sink the hips, rise up, open the heart. Exhale, dive forward, forward fold. Hip joints over the ankles, breathe into the backs of the legs. As you inhale, arms out to the side, rise all the way up with a flat back. Exhale, hands to the heart. Collarbones are broad. Bend your knees deeply, coming into chair pose. Tuck the tailbone, long spine. As you inhale, interlace the fingers, press the palms up to the sky, sit a little deeper. As you inhale, fold forward, hips over ankles. Fingers in line with the toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can be on the shins if you're really tight in the backs of the legs. As you exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, bend the knees, and we'll hop back into plank pose. On your next inhale, roll into the knife edge of the right foot, lift the left arm, lift the hips. If you want to take it a step further here, you can lift the left leg, press the mat away. So press the hips up to the sky, press the right arm into the ground. Then on your next inhale, use your core strength to step your left foot to the front of the mat. Outer edge of the right foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat, so we're setting up for warrior two. When you rise up, check your foundation. So you want your hips even, left knee directly over left ankle or slightly behind, but definitely not in front. Outer edge of the right foot is parallel with the short edge of the mat and pressing into the ground. Arms are open, look out over your left middle finger. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Activate your core, breathe fully. Inhale, send the torso forward, lift the right arm, look up. Option to take a bind here and look out over the right shoulder. Opening of the collarbones, breathing into the chest. Inhale, release. Warrior two, acknowledge the pose. Exhale, windmill the arms, step back. Three-legged plank, hold. Press out of the bottom of the left foot and release. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, peel the chest up off the mat, shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, melt forward. Curl your toes, lift your knees, activate your core, press up with a flat back. We'll take it to the other side. Rolling onto the knife edge of the left foot, stack the feet. Lift the right arm, lift the hips away from the mat, option to lift the right leg. Spread the right toes, spread the right fingers, and lift. Breathe. When you're ready, pull the knee in towards your chest. Use your core strength. Slowly, slowly, slowly step the foot to the front of the mat. When you're ready, set up for warrior two on the other side. So outer edge of left foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Right knee directly over right ankle or slightly behind. Feel your hips so that they're parallel. Open up your arms. Draw shoulder blades toward one another. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Look out over your right middle finger. Breathe. Sit low, but watch that front knee. We don't want it in front of the ankle. When you're ready, keeping your legs just like that, send your torso only forward. Rotate the arms, and then take a bind if that's in your practice for today. If you bind, open up the collarbones, look out over your left shoulder. Breathe. When you're ready, release. Rise up, acknowledge the pose, warrior two. And rotate the arms, coming into three-legged plank pose using your core strength. Spread the right toes, hold, press out of the bottom of the foot, and release. As you inhale, chaturanga, and rise up. Exhale, melt forward. Curl your toes, lift your knees. Rise up with a flat back. Using your upper body strength, downward facing dog, step your feet up the mat a couple of inches to clarify your foundation. Press the mat away, let your head go, just noticing how this downward dog feels compared to the very first one we did in the practice. Taking a clearing deep breath in and out. When you're ready, bend the knees, hop forward, rise up, halfway lift. As you exhale, forward fold, hips over the ankles. Inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Sinking the hips, squeezing the legs together, squeezing the thighs together, tucking the tailbone, long spine. Inhale, rise up to stand. Hands to the heart, collarbones broad. Inhale, Utkatasana, sit low. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, standing pigeon pose. Stay here, or if you're feeling very open today, open up your arms. You want to place the right foot into the left elbow crease and lift. So it's kind of like pigeon pose, but you're standing and your arms are wrapped around that front leg. When you're ready, bring it back, hands to the heart. Continue to stay here, or if you want to try a fun arm balance, we'll bring the hands down shoulder distance. The knee and the right foot are going to come up onto the arm. Your elbows need to be over your wrists. Press especially into the thumb and first finger. And when you're ready, release. Rise up. Extend the leg. Try not to lean back here. Point your toes straight up to the sky. Use your core strength. Use your core strength. Lift it up even more before slowly coming down. Swinging the leg back behind you, finding your balance. And then opening up the hip, coming into Halfmoon Pose. So we're going to stack the shoulders, stack the hips, spread the toes, spread the fingers, lift. Use your core strength. Find your sense of balance. Look down at the ground out in front of you. Left hand should be underneath your left shoulder and then out to the left a little bit. When you're ready, slowly bring the right hand down. Then bend the right knee, coming into a forward fold. Bring that right knee in towards your forehead. Left hip over left ankle, spread the right toes. Squeeze the core together. As you inhale, bring both feet together, knees together, sit low, Utkatasana, arms extended. Back is long, try not to arch the back, and rise up. Taking it to the other side, standing pigeon pose, cross the left foot over the right thigh. The closer you get your upper body to your left shin, the more you're going to feel it in your hips. So you have the option to stay there if that's where you're working. Or if you're super flexible, you can wrap your arms around that leg, bring the foot into the elbow crease, and rise up to stand. When you're ready, bend the leg, set the foot back down. Option to stay here in standing pigeon, or if you want to try that arm balance, it's baby flying pigeon, by the way. You can come down. Hands are shoulder distance. I'm going to try to think about having a round back here. So use your intercostal muscles, use your core strength to lift yourself up. Elbows need to be directly over the wrists. Look out in front of you about 3 feet. Use your core strength to lift, lift, lift. Lift even more. And then when you're ready, gently release. Rise up. Hands to the heart. Come to stand and then extend that left leg out away from you. Try not to lean back. Use your core strength. Point the left toes up to the sky. Maybe lift the arms as well. And then when you're ready, we'll swing the leg back behind us. Bringing the fingers down to the ground. Bring the right hand underneath the right shoulder and then out to the right a little bit. Stack the hips, stack the shoulders. Spread the left toes, spread the left fingers. Feel your weight evenly distributed across all 4 corners of the right foot. And when you're ready, bring the fingertips down to the ground. Coming into a forward fold here. Bend the left knee, spread left toes, bring the knee in towards the forehead, right hip over right ankle. Squeeze the core, then sit low, Utkatasana, feet together, knees together, chair pose. Extend the arms and then rise up to standing. Heel toe the feet apart 2 times. Toes out about 45 degrees, rise up onto your toes, use your core strength, get really tall. Then super slowly sit really low. If you're very flexible in your calf muscles, you can bring your feet all the way down to the ground. Press into your knees with your elbows to open up the hips. As you inhale, take the left fingers down to the ground, open up on the right side. Option to bind here. Look out over your right shoulder. Draw shoulder blades toward one another, wrapping your arms around the left leg. Keep that right knee open as you exhale, release. Hands come back to center. We'll take it to the other side. Left arm opens, opening up the chest here, breathing into the chest, breathing into the shoulders as you take a bind. If you need a little help, you can use a yoga strap or a belt or a tie to bring your hands together. When you're ready, release, come back to center. We're coming into crow pose here. So the trick for crow is to spread your fingers and then plug in as if you're like a rock climber. So you really want to dig in with your fingertips. Elbows need to be over the wrists. Bring the knees as close to the armpits as possible. Lift the feet, round your upper back, look forward. Use your core strength. When you're ready, release, come down. Bring the knees down, sit back. We're going to come into baby crow. So for baby crow, we bring the forearms down to the ground, spread the fingers. And then we just want to make sure we're checking the placement of the elbows. So grab opposite elbows and really make sure that your hands can come all the way around your arms. That way you know you're in the right positioning. Then bring your fingers out away from you just as shown. And you'll need to crouch up, bringing your knees as close to the armpits as you can. And then just kind of tip forward, pressing the forearms into the ground and then round your upper back. So imagining that your whole spine is round and you're using your core strength. And when you're ready, gently release. Come into child's pose, rest your head on the mat, take a couple deep breaths in and out to center yourself. Next up, we're coming into headstand. So grab opposite elbows, make sure you're grabbing the outside edges of the arms, then interlace your fingers. Bring the top of your head down. Feel your hands behind your head, supporting your head there, and begin to press into the mat with your forearms until you feel the space between your shoulder blades round. Then walk, 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 walk until your pelvis is over your head. Lift one leg or pike up, whatever works best for you. So you want to continually think about pressing into the mat, pressing, 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 bringing the shoulders away from the ears. Once you're up, you can decide what you want to do. Maybe you want to play by bringing the bottoms of the feet together and opening up the knees. Or maybe you want to practice splits or bicycling or whatever it is you want to do. You want to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So Do what feels strange and interesting to you. When you're ready, see if you can come down with a pike. So to do this, you're going to have to take your pelvis back behind your head and then slowly reach your toes towards the mat and come into child's pose. I really like piking out, particularly because it feels great in the back and it's a really good core exercise and a nice way to remind ourselves that the pose is not just about getting up into a perfect headstand, it's also about coming out and making sure we're doing everything with control. Rise up until you're sitting on your shins, interlace your fingers, press the palms together, and press your heart out away from you. This is just a nice counter stretch. Shake your arms out. We're going to work in forearm stand here. If you're new to this, I would suggest using a wall behind you. Go ahead and grab opposite arms. Then bring your hands together. Don't interlace your fingers here, just press them together. Then rise up for Dolphin Pose. If you're really, really new to Forearm Stand and you're not ready to try it, just stay in Dolphin Pose, which is this pose that you're in right now. Otherwise, begin to walk your feet forward. Pick one leg up. Try not to kick so much as to press up with that bottom foot and lift with the top foot. I find a split is a really good way to come into it because you can kind of seesaw your way into finding your sense of balance. And then when you're ready, begin to bring the opposite leg down and try to come out with control. So to do this, you're going to have to spread the legs even more and gently release. Take child's pose for a couple breaths. Maybe even rise up onto the shins and shake your arms out, whatever you need to do. Go ahead and do that before we come back into it, taking it onto the other side. You'll find that there's generally one side that is more strong than the other, and that's totally normal. This next side that we're going to do is my weak side, so it takes me 3 tries to get up, but that's just how it goes. Go ahead and grab opposite arms. Bring the hands out in front, press the hands together. Press into the mat already so you feel that space between your shoulder blades beginning to round. Rise up into Dolphin. Option to stay here for the entire time that we go into Forearm Stand, or when you're ready, begin to walk until you feel your pelvis close to your head and then lift the opposite leg. Instead of kicking up, see if you can press into that bottom foot and then use a little bit of momentum to lift your back leg. So there's a difference between trying to come up with control and just kicking up. And if you kick up, you likely will fall over and flip over, and we don't want to do that. So see if you can come up with control as much as you can. And when you're ready, come down, take a child's pose. On the next inhale, extend the arms. Round forward onto all fours, curl your toes, rise up, downward facing dog. We're going to play in baby grasshopper here before going into regular grasshopper. So as you inhale, lift your right leg as high as you can, spread the right toes, breathe into the back of the left leg. As you exhale, knee in towards your chest, send your right foot to the front of the mat. Rise up onto your fingers, and then begin to turn until you're facing your right side, facing out to the right. And sit down. So from here, you're already in the position to get into baby grasshopper. So bring your left hand to your left hip, then out in front, then out to your left. You want your toes pointing away from you. Bring the right arm in front of the shin and then grab hold of the shin or the bottom of the foot. Now imagine that somebody is yelling at you. Like, remember when you're a little kid and your parents would call you from the other side of the house from your first and middle name and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get up. So get up and go see them. Don't think about it. Underthink it. When you're ready, release. We'll take it to the other side. So find your way back into a child's pose. Round forward onto all fours, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts, spread the left toes. Send the left foot to the front of the mat, rise up, and then begin to turn out to your left. I'm just going to turn because it doesn't make any sense for me to do it facing away from you. Bring your right hand to your right hip, then out in front, then to the right. Toes are pointed away from you. Then bring your left arm in front of the left shin and grab hold of the right shin or the right bottom of the foot. Now imagine that someone is calling you from the other side of the house. There's an emergency and you have to get up from that position. Press into that foot and get up without thinking too much. Underthink it. When you're ready, release, come into a child's pose. As you inhale, round forward and curl your toes. Lift your hips, let your head go. As you inhale, rise onto the toes, bend the knees, hop forward. Halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, forward fold, chin to shins. Inhale, rise up with a flat back. Exhale, hands to the heart, Samastahiti. Feet together, knees together. Hands to the heart, sink your hips, sit low. Then lift your right leg and cross your right ankle over your left leg. Bring the fingertips down to the ground. Then rise up off the left heel and sit your butt down onto the Achilles. I'm going to turn so you can see me better. From here, we're going to open up our arms a little bit wider than shoulder distance. Spread your fingers and grip into the ground as if you're going rock climbing. Press the right foot onto your arm and then extend the back leg. When you're ready, release. This is a crazy tough pose, so if you aren't getting it, try not to feel distracted. This is just how it goes. It's a learning journey. So let go of any negative thoughts or any, bad self-talk. Just let it go. It will come eventually. We'll try taking it on the other side. I say that because everybody has a weak side, and this is my weak side. So rise up onto your toes after you bring your fingers down to the ground. Sit the butt down low, and then begin to twist. Opening up the hands. My hands probably should be a little bit wider than they are here. You want them wider than shoulder distance. Press the left foot into your left arm. Spread the toes. And lift the back leg. Use your core strength to lift up. And when you're ready, release. Try to come out as gracefully as you went in. And then rise up. Take pigeon pose, standing pigeon pose. And then come to stand, feet together, knees together, arms out in front, plug the shoulders into the torso, and rise up off your heels. Activate your core strength. Try not to lean back here. Bend the knees, will come all the way down to seated. Slide your hands underneath your feet, knees up towards your chin, then round your back and rest your head between your knees. Press into your hands with your feet and breathe into your upper back. From here, we'll do a little hip opening. So scoot yourself up to the front of the mat and bring the left shin so it is parallel with the short edge of your mat. Feels a little weird, but just make sure that your setup is right. You want the shin parallel to the short edge of your mat. Then take your right foot and stack it over the left knee. Now your right knee may be up here like this. If that's the case, it just means that your hips are tight. It's no big deal. Or maybe you can bring your knee on top of your left foot. Wherever you are, sit tall, and then just spider your fingers forward until you feel something in your hips. Breathe into that something. Breathe into that tension. Maybe you're folding all the way forward and you feel good there. Find your edge, wherever that may be, and just melt into it. Send the breath there like a laser to open up space. On your next inhale, slowly rise up. Gently take the top leg down. We'll bring it down to the other side. So sit in a way that your right shin is parallel with the short edge of the mat, and then stack your left foot on top of the right knee, maybe the left knee on top of the right foot as well. Sit long and tall. Spider your fingers forward until you feel something. Move slowly. There's no place to actually get. Just enjoy the breathing and the movement and whatever it is you're feeling in the hips. When you're ready, rise up. Gently release the legs. We'll bring the knees together and extend the feet away from us just a little bit. Arms out in front and super slowly come to lie down on your back. When you get there, bring the knees in towards the chest. And as you exhale, peel the upper back off the mat to grab opposite elbows and pull the knees in. Tuck your chin a little bit so the back of your neck is very long. And see if you can press your low back down until maybe you feel your tailbone down onto the mat as well. Very subtle movement. Relax your shoulders away from you. Now on your next inhale, we'll come into happy baby. So grab the outside edges of the feet, pull the knees in towards your armpits, and breathe. Option to stay in stillness or rock side to side, whatever feels best for you, do that. When you're ready to release, slide your hands down until you feel them on the tops of your shins. Then open up your hips, activate the feet, and let gravity pull your legs down towards the ground. Breathing now into the inner thighs. On your next inhale, we'll come into Supta Gomukhasana. So we're going to cross the right leg over the left, then reach down and you can grab hold of the ankles or the bottoms of the feet, whatever feels good for you. As you do, pull the legs in towards your body. Breathe into the IT band. Breathe into the hips. Maybe even close your eyes. When you're ready, unravel the legs, cross the other side. And from here, we'll release. We're going to come into a little back bend here. So if your hair is in a ponytail, take it out. Bring your feet close to your bum, knees directly up to the sky, toes pointed directly away from you. Tilt your pelvis back, press into your feet until you lift up with the hips. Lift your hips as high as you can, breathe into the hip flexors. Option to clasp the hands and then rock side to side, coming onto the sides of the arms, or just stay here. Whatever feels best for you. Making sure your feet and knees stay hip distance and the knees point directly away from you, not out to the side. And when you're ready, release. Decide whether or not you're going to take bridge pose again, or if you want to come into wheel pose. For wheel, the elbows are pointed straight up to the sky, feet as close to the bum as you can, fingers pointed in towards your body. Spread your fingers, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, press into the hands, press into the feet, lift everything up. Picture the body as an upside down letter U, not a letter V, so there's no compression in your spine. Breathe into the armpits. Look between your thumbs. Knees stay directly out in front, toes point directly out in front, not out to the side. And when you're ready, gently release and come down. Take a couple deep breaths here. From here, we're going to come into shoulder stand. So bring the hands to the hips, lift your hips up off the ground. Support your low back with your hands, point your toes up to the sky. Option to stay just like this, or do bicycles, do splits, cross the legs, whatever you want to do to play around, go ahead and do that. Remember to breathe, maintain that connection to your breath, making your inhales and exhales of equal length. You don't want to ever turn your head in this position. Keep your gaze towards the belly button. When you're ready, bring your knees in towards your forehead. Release your hands from your low back, press them into the mat. And then when you are ready, take a deep breath and bring the toes back behind you. Maybe they reach the ground and you're coming into Plow Pose. If you are reaching your toes into the ground, activate your muscles. Press out of the bottoms of the feet. Then when you're ready, press into your hands and we'll super slowly release the pose, coming all the way down with control. Bring the feet out to 45 degrees. Legs extended 45 degrees. Then rise up onto the top of your head, bringing your spine up off the mat. Chest lifts. Interlace the fingers, release your index finger. We're coming into fish pose. So extend out of the feet, use your core strength. And when you're ready, release the pose. On your next inhale, interlace your fingers behind your head, bend your knees, lift your legs up. Take a deep breath in, shoulder blades off the mat. As you exhale, lift your upper body and your lower body and release. This is a really slow movement and release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Release. It's a slow, small movement. and release. Lift and release. Lift and release. Release your legs down to the ground. Bring the bottoms of the feet to touch, open up the knees, and then cactus the arms so your elbows are in line with your shoulders. Close your eyes. Let your eyes sink into the sockets. Close your mouth, but part your teeth. Let your tongue sink to the bottom of your mouth. Relax the cheeks. Relax the space between your eyebrows. Relax your knees. Feeling the weight of gravity, just pull them. If you need a little support there, you can slide one block underneath each knee. And then let go of your ujjayi breath, of your breathing, and just breathe naturally. We'll be here in Shavasana for a couple minutes, letting the body just absorb all the good things you just did. When thoughts come to you, just let them go without any energy given to them. I'll let you know when Shavasana is complete. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And slowly make your way over to your right side, cradling your head in your right hand. Take a deep breath in. Now, as you exhale, press into your left hand until you rise up into a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to your heart, just taking a moment to acknowledge your practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed.